Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Wednesday, October 22nd, just a little after 6 o'clock in the evening, and this is our daily recap video for our $1 Billion Club. Those are YieldMax's 4 weekly paying income funds. They're individual income funds on Coin, stock ticker CONY, MSTR, stock ticker Misti, NVDY, stock ticker Nvidi, and TSLY, stock ticker TSLY. Today's extra special because it was also Declaration Day. So if you missed it this morning, YieldMax announced the distributions for Group 2. We got a nice long list now, so they're not separated into 4 separate weeks. They're all coming every single week. So I have already taken these numbers and input them into our charts so we can take a look at them and see percentages. So other than that, for this page, just a reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1, posting all things related to the ETFs that I cover and the videos that I make on those ETFs. If you're not on X, I would recommend you get on there, even if you don't care anything about anyone else's posts and this and that. Every week on Wednesday, Wolf Financial does basically a lunch with the YieldMax crew, and they host all kinds of stuff. But Wednesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time, YieldMax comes on and talks for an hour. They'll do a small announcement, talk for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, but the rest of the hour they just take questions, and anybody can ask it. You don't have to be you don't have to have a channel or anything like that. So very interesting way to work with the community. So obviously today was an absolutely ugly day. We'll take a look at how our funds did. Coinbase was down 5.4%. YieldMax's Coney outperformed, only going down 4.3%. I say only. Obviously, every one of these is ugly, but if it went down less than the underlying, then what more can you ask for? MSTR, now called Strategy, down just about 7%. Misti down a little under 6%. NVIDY down around 0.5%. NVDY down 0.38%. And TSLY down 0.82%, with TSLY dropping 0.59%. So in all cases, you were better off with the YieldMax fund today. All right, when we take a look at our chart, we just have them listed in alphabetical order. I like to start with the trades, and Coney is first. Now, I've got to say this was a little bit confusing for me on why they made these trades. Obviously, I'm not a professional, and they are. You're not giving your money to me. You're giving it to them. But what we're doing is closing out some of our sold options and our purchased options as well, the call spreads. And so it resulted on a trading day loss of $582,000. Now, normally, okay, that's not that big a deal. The only thing is, why are we paying? Why are we losing money? I guess technically you're not losing money, because if you brought in millions on these and you're closing them out for $582,000, then so that's probably, as I'm thinking through this, kind of verbally processing, while this looks like a loss on the trading day, they're going to have received more money than they paid out starting these positions. And so even though they are all well out of the money, they are now uncapping their synthetic shares in the event Coinbase takes off, rebounds. There will be no cap to that. Now, do we really think that it was going to jump 10 to 12% in 2 days? Probably not. We could have kept another 500,000, but again, what do I know? So overall, cost us $582,000 on that closeout of some spreads, and I have marked the ones that got closed out. Now, this was odd because they said they closed out where is it? 5,000 contracts at 350, 750. But when we look at the holdings, there aren't 5,000 contracts at 357.50. So maybe we'll throw some orange there. We probably just don't have these anymore. I wasn't concerned with closing out the long call side of things. We'll just drop them off when we download the holdings, but we no longer need to talk about those last three sold calls. So when we flip over here to our holdings page, first things first, let's talk about our distribution announcement. They announced 9.32 cents per share on Coney. Now that might not sound great compared to what you're used to, but don't forget, you just switched from getting this once every 4 weeks to once every week. So where this would have been basically times that by 4 over the course of a 4-week period, you're just getting it 1 week at a time. It still comes out to being paid almost 79%. Now that's going to be a little inflated because when they announced it, the market wasn't open yet. And then the market, obviously, like we said, dropped. Coin dropped 5.4-ish% today. So that's going to make this look bigger. Either way, a little over the IV, the 30-day IV of the underlying. So that's kind of right in line with what we were expecting. So getting a 78% annual yield on that payout. Our synthetics, a Coinbase 300 and 390. Well, coin dropped to 320 today. So the 300 still doing well. Before the day started, it was worth 72 million. Obviously, that's going to drastically decrease, but it will still be positive. The 390 when the day started was a negative 94 million. That's going to get much uglier since it's dropping 5% further below that. Assets under management at the start of the day, 1.2 billion. Yesterday, people bought into the fund nearly 1 million shares, bringing outstanding shares up over 198 million. The NAV at the start of the day, 644, closing at 614 after a very rough day. This is a new, actually I'll hit that last. So we talk about our sold calls, right? These are where we're generating the income. We've got calls sold at 340, 345, 347.50, and 350, anywhere from 6 to 9% out of the money at the close today. So that is a live time. We don't need to talk about these anymore because we just saw that they closed them out. One new thing that I added was basically a percentage, and it is how many calls we're selling compared to how many calls we could be selling based off of how many synthetic positions we have. So in the case of Coinbase, Coney, they were selling 87% of the possible calls that they could be sold, meaning that 13% of the money is uncapped. So if Coinbase went to the moon, we would capture every bit of it on 13% of the synthetic. Now that's going to greatly increase, and really I can tell you by how much, because we know we just dropped these three off. So that percentage dropped all the way to 38%, meaning that 62% of any upward movement, we're going to be able to capture 100% of it. All right, I won't explain that on each page now that we've gone over that specific there. Next, we'll go to Misti, and their trades, a little bit better picture here, brought in $3.9, almost $4 million on the option trading day today. Now where Coinbase was only closing out options, so they were buying to close their short calls and they were selling to close their long calls. Misti was buying to close and rolling at the same time, so you're going to obviously bring in more money when you sell short the next call. So overall, that brought in $3.9 million. Not paying tons of money to close things out. 34 cents, 72 cents, 74 cents, 29 and 30, 45 and 30. Bringing in on average like $4 plus per share. Okay. When we flip over, we'll talk about the distribution first. 21.22 cents per share. That's it's 95% now after obviously an absolutely horrible day. It wasn't 95% when they announced it, but in any case, obviously a lot higher than what the 30-day IV of the fund is. And before you tell me, I know it's not based on the 30-day. It's just that's the most easily accessible number for me. It's more lifetime than that, closer to the 7-day or even smaller. Synthetics on this are absolutely atrocious. If you watch Retire on Dividends, he would definitely be calling these gold diggers. And starting the day at negative 136 million for the 330 synthetic, negative 143 million for the 345 synthetic, and negative 135 million for the 350. That's starting the day. Then our underlying dropped 7%. So all of those are going to be horrible to close out. We started the day at 3.5 billion in assets under management. Yesterday, people sold out of the fund 1.4 million shares, bringing it down to 284,525,000 shares. We got $12.35 was the NAV at the start of the day, but after the drop, the share price ended in the 1160 range. Again, I say that because Excel is not always down to the last penny up to date on closing. So at the start of the day, possible call percent of possible calls sold was 77. So that means they've got another 23% of these synthetics that they could sell calls on, so look at it two ways. It's uncapped, or there's just still more potential to bring in money. We're not going to be able to just take these off because we also sold short some new shares, so they're not necessarily just going off of there. Next, we got Nvidi on the trading day for them, bringing in just under $2 million profit, credit, whatever you want to call it. And so you see, similar to Misti, they're not just closing things out, they are closing and then selling for next week. You see we're going from the 24th of October to the 31st, paying 13 cents. Let's go to the one that actually lines up better. We don't have an exact number, 7,000. Yeah, the numbers don't necessarily line up perfect with, they didn't close 5,000 and then sell short a new 5,000. Numbers are a little off. So in any case, paying anywhere from 13 cents, 14 cents to close things out. Selling new for 266, 268. But then, of course, you got to pay for those long calls on the call spreads too. So they're costing a little bit of money as well, around 90 cents. But good day either way as far as options trading is concerned. When we switch over to the holdings, announced 12.06 cents per share. Now, again, today was announcement day. You can still buy in the after hours today, but you cannot buy tomorrow. Tomorrow is X day. You need to hold the shares. You need to have the shares tomorrow and have started the day with them in order to receive credit. And Friday will be payday. That 12.06 cents per share comes out to a 40% annual yield on NVIDIA. So that's a little on the lower side. 1.7 billion in assets under management at the start of the day. People sold out of the fund yesterday to the tune of 325,000 shares, bringing it to an even 112 million. NAV at the start of the day, 1563. It was not as rough of a day for NVIDIA and Nvidi, so they only dropped a small amount, a third of a percent. All right, when we look at our synthetics, both are still okay. They're still in the positive. We've got synthetic 165 and 170, both for November 21st, worth 90 million and 50 million at the start of the day. Those numbers will drop some since NVIDIA was down about 0.5% today, but nothing too drastic. Calls are sold at still left for this week at 185 and 187.50, 2.6 and 4% out of the money. The 190s have been closed out. Now, sorry for bouncing around. I think I forgot to mention that portion on Misti. So still left in play for this week for Misti. Our calls sold at 300, 302.50, 305, 307.50, 310, and 312.50, or in other words, $2.50 increments all the way from 300 to 312.50, and that's anywhere from 6.8% to 11.2% out of the money. Sorry for that little go back in time thing. As far as Nvidi is concerned, they are selling 100% of their possible calls. So making the most of it with what they can. TSLY didn't have any trades today, so that page will be quick. We switch over to the holdings page. They announced 16.52 cents per share. That's a over 100% annualized yield. Got to be happy with that. Again, you'll receive that on Friday, so long as you have the shares on Thursday and purchase them prior to Thursday. They've got two synthetics, one at 415, one at 420, both for 1121, both in the money, worth 50 and 28 million. They will slightly decrease because of the 0.8% drop in Tesla today. 1.2 billion in assets under management. As far as the start of the day, if I said that wrong on any of the other funds, all of them are in billion. Outstanding shares dropped after people sold about 400,000 shares yesterday, bringing it to 151,375,000, and that started the day with a NAV of 844, closing around 840. So a very small change in share price. We don't have any orange here. I use the orange as like a under construction because it's being changed out, no longer in play. So with no trades, we have no orange. And all calls are now out of the money, everywhere from 442.50 all the way down to 457.50, or 0.8 to 4.2% out of the money. And again, TSLY, like Nvidi, is selling 100% of their possible calls. All right, that's all I have for you. Thank you for watching. I've got another video coming out later on tonight, but I'm not going to be able to make it until closer to like 7:30, 8 o'clock or later. But I got a dad joke for you. So thanks for watching. All the likes, shares, comments. Please let other people know if they're into any of these funds and they want the daily breakdown of what's happening, that I'm going to provide it for them. All right, so dad joke of the day. I used to run a dating service for chickens, but I was struggling to make hens meet. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good night, and I'll catch you in the next video. Good luck trading tomorrow.